I have not had fruits or vegetables in over 6 years, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been. This was me eating a standard American diet, or I guess as we should call it, the processed food diet. This was a lot of casseroles, boxed food, packaged food, gas station food, eating out, just the typical, probably low protein, very high carbohydrate, fruits and vegetables, all the things included into my diet. Now, I'm not blaming fruits and vegetables on why I looked like this, but I am saying that I would not have been able to lose 100 pounds and maintain that weight loss for 6 years if I didn't cut out fruits and vegetables. So since fruits and vegetables didn't cause me to look like this, why did I stop eating them, and why can I not still eat them even though I'm perfectly healthy? That's what I want to break down for you in this video. We're going to talk about why carnivore is right for me, and why specifically I cannot eat fruit, and why specifically I cannot and will not ever again eat vegetables. Stay tuned. But before we get started, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Element. Element is the electrolyte drink mix that I use every day. When you're not eating carbohydrates, your body tends to flush out all of its natural electrolytes. And so adding extra salt, potassium, and magnesium can be really helpful in preventing muscle cramps, fatigue, helping boost your energy levels, get great sleep, and all the benefits that we want to experience when we're not eating carbs, or you're just being really active. New studies show that we actually need 6 times the amount of sodium that the daily recommended guidelines suggest. And so for that reason, I include at least 1 packet of the unflavored electrolytes in my diet every day. Recently, I've been checking out Element's new sparkling water flavors. That's been a fun summer treat for me. And then on days when I'm super sweaty and really active, I'll even add a 2nd packet. Element has a deal for all my subscribers where you can get this free sample pack with any purchase, and you can try all of their flavors. They have all kinds of really awesome stuff, from mango chili to chocolate, and then tons of citrus and orange. Those are some of our favorites. They have a 100% money back guarantee, and you can go to drinkelement.com/LAURAESPATH to get your free sample pack with your purchase. First, I'm going to talk about why I don't eat fruit at all, and then I want to talk about vegetables specifically. And lastly, I want to address fiber, the thing that's in both fruit and vegetables that people feel like is an essential nutrient for them to consume. So why don't I eat fruit? First of all, I was pre-diabetic. I was actually 0.1 away on my A1C from being considered a full diabetic, where the doctors then would begin to prescribe medication to me. And I actually never had a doctor tell me about that. It wasn't until after I went carnivore that I looked back at my blood work and realized how terrible things were. And I never had anybody address with me the insulin resistance that I had, my high blood sugar, and my high A1C. Also, type 2 diabetes runs in my family. My grandmother developed type 2 diabetes late in her life. My mother was in her 40s when she developed type 2 diabetes, and I was in my late 20s and pre-diabetic. So there is this genetic predisposition to type 2 diabetes, but that doesn't mean that you will have type 2 diabetes. Oftentimes, things that we are considering genetic are things that are just end up the same because we are living the same lifestyle as those before us. And so while my body may develop type 2 diabetes faster than somebody else who doesn't have that genetic pattern, it doesn't mean that I have to have it. I am able to change my lifestyle and my diet to prevent that entirely. And as I watch now my grandmother, who is experiencing some early stages of dementia due to her high blood sugar, my mom and I both have been extremely motivated to, my mom's reversed her type 2 diabetes completely, gotten off all of her medications, and I have been able to reverse my pre-diabetes, and I'm on my way to preventing it for a lifetime because of the fact that we have changed our diet and lifestyle. And obviously a huge part of that for me was eliminating carbs and processed sugars, but fruit is a part of that. And fruit, especially in high volumes, is going to spike your glucose. Now, there are some people who are on a keto diet who can incorporate some berries and small amounts of fruit occasionally, but I am not someone who is able to moderate those things. And so if you're able to have a small cup of blueberries occasionally, and that fits into your active lifestyle and your blood sugar is regulated properly, then I actually don't think that that's that big of a deal. But there's a lot of people like myself who had insulin resistance and high glucose that even adding a small amount of fruit is going to spike things into an unhealthy level. Also, there is a lot of people like myself who are not able to moderate fruit. And while I might be able to convince myself that I can have a small amount of blueberries on occasion, that half a cup of blueberries turns into a whole cup, and then I'm putting whipped cream on it, and then I eat the whole container, and the next thing you know, I've just poured a container of blueberries on top of some pancakes or ice cream, and that has completely spiraled out of control. And if you don't have that tendency or that food addiction that I just mentioned, that seems a little crazy to you. But I have been known in a past life to eat a whole container of watermelon at once. You have watermelon for a party, there's leftovers, there's probably a half a watermelon left over in the fridge the next day. I could polish that off in an entire day, no problem. And think about the havoc that that would wreak on my blood sugar. Also, incorporating things like lots of sugar and then lots of fat, like I do on a carnivore diet, is kind of the worst possible combination. You really need to pick one fuel source for your body, and that's gonna be sugar or that's gonna be fat. You don't wanna be eating high fat, like fatty meats and bacon and eggs like you do on a carnivore diet, and then also incorporating a lot of sugar because your body is gonna burn all of that sugar for fuel, and then it's gonna store all of the fat that you're eating. So that's kind of where the high fat red meat gets a bad name, is because people are eating it in combination with buns and milkshakes and french fries and lots of sugar, where their body is then storing all the fat that they're eating. So again, if you are somebody who can moderate small amounts of fruit and include it when it's in season as a summer treat or in the holidays, and you want to keep doing that, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if you're like myself and you've been previously insulin resistant or type 2 diabetic, you really need to steer clear of most sugar in all forms. And my guess is we didn't end up obese and the way that we were because we were able to moderate things like carbs and sugar. And for me, fruit turns that same part of my brain on that real sugar does, and ice cream does, and chocolate candy bars do. And I need to eliminate those completely from my diet. And I actually find a lot of freedom doing that. I notice that a lot of the sweet cravings go away, things get easier. It's easier for me to have no sweets than it is to just have a small amount. So that's the main reason why I choose not to include fruit in my diet. This may make me a bad carnivore, but I actually don't feel like all vegetables are killing you and that you need to cut out all vegetables in order to be healthy. I think that a lot of people are negatively affected by vegetables and they don't realize it because they haven't ever eliminated them from their diet to test. And so I feel the same way that I feel about vegetables that I do about fruit, where if you can tolerate it, if you can moderate it, and if you feel good eating them, then I think you should absolutely include them in your diet, because there's nothing wrong with having some vegetables. I just think that you need to realize that you don't need them in order to be healthy. You are getting the nutrients that you need from meat. And if you want to do more research on that, I encourage you. Judy Cho wrote a beginner's guide to carnivore that I will link in the description that really breaks down all of the nutrients in meat and why you actually don't need vegetables in order to be healthy. And I think there are so many people that would benefit, heal skin issues, autoimmune conditions, arthritis, inflammation issues, and just overall health and weight loss and wellness by eliminating things like vegetables from their life. If you would have told me 6 years ago that I would stop eating vegetables completely and that actually would fix most of my digestive issues, I would have told you that you are crazy. I have spent a lifetime of issues dealing with constipation and hemorrhoids. I was in my early 20s and I was having a lot of bleeding and hemorrhoids and seeing specialists. And I even got to the point right before I started carnivore where things were so severe with my hemorrhoids that I actually saw a surgeon and was in the process of talking about having like a colorectal surgery to resolve it. I actually have a whole video where I break down in very graphic detail all of the issues that I had with hemorrhoids. So if you want more details on that, you can go check out that video. But it is wild to me looking back now that the only advice I was given on how to improve my constipation, my digestion, and heal my hemorrhoids was to add more fiber. And it's wild because that was actually causing all of my issues. The more fiber I added, the more hemorrhoids I got, the more I was constipated, and then the more stool softeners and laxatives that I had to take to balance things out again. Fiber is something that causes you to absorb water and gives you a lot of bulk. And if you think about it, one of the things that people who eat a lot of vegetables talk about is that they have so much poop and it must be so healthy because they're pooping all of the time. Well, they're pooping all the time for a couple of different reasons. Number one, there's just so much fiber in those vegetables that your body is just pushing all of that out of your system. And then also, your body can't actually absorb a lot of those nutrients from the vegetables. And so while a lot of vegetables have nutrients in them, your body can't actually absorb that. And so it's just pushing all of that out as waste. It wasn't until I cut vegetables out of my diet completely that I actually had tremendous healing from hemorrhoids and bleeding and all kinds of constipation and digestive issues. When you eat a lot of beef, especially fatty beef, that's a lot of water. And so then your body is absorbing all the other nutrients in the beef. And what you're left with as waste is a lot of water. And it's why a lot of people, when they first go carnivore, get loose stools or really rapid diarrhea. And that's because your body is expelling all of that water and it's getting used to reabsorbing that water by not having all of that fiber again. And, you know, I had gone carnivore for like a week. Chris was cooking for us and I just was kind of following him along, not really sold on being totally carnivore yet, but I went without any vegetables or salads or greens for a full week. And the last day of that week, I had a big taco salad that just was meat, cheese, sour cream, and a whole bunch of lettuce. And my gut was wrecked. I was bloated, I was constipated, and really just from that one big bowl of lettuce, I had this huge light bulb moment of realizing that all of my digestive issues were coming from vegetables and from lettuce and greens. And the minute that I cut them out, I have not had any issues. I have needed no laxative, no stool softeners, and I've had no issues with constipation or hemorrhoids in the last 6 years. And again, this is coming from somebody who had such severe issues that I was speaking with somebody about surgery. And this kind of leads to the part about fiber, that we are told that if you want to resolve those things and for proper digestion, you just need to add more and more and more fiber. But fiber is not an essential nutrient for your body. You can live perfectly fine without adding any fiber. And for most of us, we find that our bloating, our gas, our hemorrhoids, our constipation is all resolved by adding extra fiber. If you want to try a carnivore challenge and see how you feel, if you have more questions from me or want to see more content, you can come find me on Locals. We have an awesome community of people there who are working together, encouraging each other, and looking to improve their health long term. Thanks for watching.